It's a pleasure being here and have this opportunity to speak to all of you. I'm going to talk for Peeeks. I'll introduce Peeeks a little bit later. More interesting how the battery storage relates to the upcoming trend of electric mobility, so photovoltaic, wall box in the house, and distributed storage, how they relate. So first, few facts from projects that we did in the past. By the way, the 77%, that's really coincidence, that's not kind of engineered or so. So 77% of EV charging events take place at home. All this discussion about underway and so on might be important, but actually the energy gets consumed at home of electric cars. That's a result of a project which we did with Audi. Audi is our, in the past and in the future, main partner to drive these electric mobility topics. And on the other side, very important for the car OEMs, 77% of EV drivers want to charge their electric car with power from their rooftop PV system, if they already have it or not. So two interesting trends. Where is the energy coming from and what's really the source of it? Now when we look a little bit more in detail, there's multiple dimensions. One is a solar panel. I think I can use this pointer here. Solar panels, then energy storage, what this is mostly about here, this forum. And then the wall box, the new guy in the house. We have a combustion engine which has a CO2 footprint of somewhere around 160 grams CO2, which, kind of, we know that's where it comes from. Depending how you measure it, it goes down by itself or it goes up. Now on the other end, we have the electric car manufacturers which are allowed to take electric vehicles as zero emission, although they're actually not. When you drive a car with a German energy mix, which is our kind of main market today, Germany, then your actual CO2 footprint is cut in half, which you can see here with the orange bar. Now the easiest way to further go down is to power your electric car with green power directly from your roof. And that's what the topic here is about. And that's also very interesting for the car OEMs because that's a way how they can actually get close to this regulatory framework which allows them to count each electric car as zero emission car. So there is an interest of the car OEMs to make this really happen. Then, next dimension, solar photovoltaic with energy storage. Now that's the classic business we're coming from as Peeeks, matching rooftop solar with battery storage. Meanwhile, we know self-sufficiency degrees, so how much power of your photovoltaic can flow into your house load. Somewhere around 70 to 80%, that's realistic with a good battery, and efficiency levels in the household with a battery of around 90%. Now what is great with electric mobility, we finally have a load that takes also power at, let's say, summer times. Everyone in battery storage knows in autumn and spring it's great. In winter there's let's say the challenge that batteries might not even get fully charged, but clearly in summer there's excess energy. We need a load that takes off this energy, and that's the electric mobility. Depending on who you ask, there's also people saying that an electric car uses most of the energy in summer because the AC is on while they're driving, so there's more energy to be consumed. And for residential energy storage, in a self-consumption mode, they only generate value if they're cycling. So cycling a battery is a good thing. It's a good thing for emotions and especially for the business case. So you can empty your battery fully when a car is coming home and in the evening. And then what we also see when you look at the energy storage and wall box dimension, let's say concerning congestion, concerning immediate availability of charging. The graph down here is quite interesting. The orange parts are the total, is how the EVs get charged at home, when, without any control. That's just when the car owner comes home and connects it, and it immediately starts to charge. A clear peak here at 6 p.m. This chart here was generated in a pilot project with Audi, where each driver had the possibility to charge free of charge at their workplace. So yes, we had some guys here charging a bit in the morning, but the vast majority is 6 p.m. So at 6 p.m. we have to confirm there will be a grid bottleneck when we get to significant penetration. Now there's two ways around this. You kind of manage this locally, or you manage it locally, or you have an unhappy EV customer. Now the latter is something that the car OEMs absolutely don't want. So there's a guy that buys an electric vehicle for 30 to 80,000 euros, and they buy it for fast charging and whatever, and then they come home and they're not allowed to charge for like 3-4 hours. And that's not something the car OEMs are interested in. Absolutely want to avoid that. Okay, so what is the guy in the middle? That's an energy management system like ours. Managing all the different loads, the generation, so that it works nicely. Peeeks EMS is a white label solution for utilities, car OEMs, whoever wants it. And special, it is not just at home, it's really a connected system. It's also a sub-aggregation which connects the wall box, the heating load, the battery storage system to the energy market. We do this for quite a while already. We were the first one in continental Europe in 2014 that were successfully pre-qualified to do this for primary control. So we deliver on the commercial scale. Primary means frequency control over distributed assets for quite a while now. So that's a quick introduction. Here we talk about projects. One is battery swarm. That's kind of where I personally come mostly from. Mainly in Germany, but also in the Netherlands and in Switzerland, where we have where we kind of aggregate batteries, energy storage for ancillary services market. Multiples, inverters, with your customer experience. I mean, the whole program for a utility to roll out, plus an additional use case through the ancillary services that we enable. In parallel, there's EV charging, topic I just talked about, then heat pumps, district heating, and e-boilers. E-boilers we're ramping up quite nicely. The slides were done perhaps a month ago or so. Meanwhile, we're, I think, at 11,800 or so. So ramping up fast there using our platform. Now, really important is the customer engagement and the customer experience. That's why the user experience is important. We try to make things really simple. So it's not about too many influence possibilities to give to the end customer, because I think that this would be an approach for early adopters, but in the end it's about simplicity. That's what we do here with our customer experience approach. Very interesting here, this red button, newest add-on, asymmetrical phase control. We support this through this integration with Audi using eBus, which I think, by the way, is a great standard. So we can run the three-phase charging in an asymmetrical way, which increases the speed to charge dramatically, because we can really squeeze out most of the local grid connection. Symmetrical three-phase charging, especially in houses with rooftop PV, you always have a weak phase. And this weak phase on the home connection dictates your power, which you can put into the electric car, and usually that's not anywhere close to what the, let's say, the leaflet of your charging solution promised you. Now, when we talk about rollouts, planning bigger rollouts, the installer dimension is really important. We saw this in several regions across Europe, that having a great business case and having a end user experience is one thing, but during the rollout you're mostly occupied with installers that really need to do what they're supposed to. And installers, hope there are not too many there, they don't like to read. They don't like to be trained for days. It just needs to work. And we spent quite a lot of time in a wizard that really integrates all the information available, not just about our system, but also about the devices that need to be connected. Because an installer will not have kind of 5 instruction manuals and read them, here is step 1 and then step 2 and so on. Just not happening. So installation experience is a really important element. Now on the aggregated side, this let's say performance cockpit, here you actually see some charts about primary control. Some frequency goes up, power goes down, quite straightforward. This means monitoring, intensive monitoring of each side, but also of the pool. You can create great value for each end customer by optimizing those monitoring services. Because a traditional PV owner, he doesn't know that his panels were actually working really poorly, or that his heat pump is actually at very just wrongly configured. So by looking at the data intensively, you can create add-on service which are good for the installer and ultimately for the end user. And by the way, obviously also for the ancillary services or any energy market that you run your aggregated pool in. Now I came from the topic electric mobility. How are car OEMs interested in local storage, photovoltaics and so on? Now I think they're the new ally. Before, 2 or 3 years ago, a car manufacturer would not have been interested in all we do here. Just not. Now they are. They want to have a successful rollout of their electric mobility. And for good customer experience, without any troubles, they want all this here that we talk about the show to happen successfully. And that's great. We have some experience with this, with Audi and hopefully some more. And if anyone wants to do something in this domain, we're happy to support you with our energy management, but also just with our knowledge. So we have here end customer, installer, utility, and obviously ourselves, yes, but the new guy on the block is the car OEM, and they're really interested. And I can just encourage everyone here, if there are connections, if you know stuff is happening, talk to them. They're really interested, but their utility business is somewhat new to them. That's it from my end. If you have more questions, we're kind of mostly Dutch with a little bit of Swiss ingredients at Peeeks. And by coincidence, the Dutch pavilion is just over there, and we're also there. And I actually heard there's some beers coming free very soon. So we're there, talk to us, and yeah, looking forward to continue the discussion. Thank you, everyone.